and then we can have a discussion on the homework that we were dished out yesterday. All right, so Tumelo, you can open the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rose. Thank you so much to live online participants. And today is the last day for this session. USEC stands for UNISA Science Engagement Center. It's a live online learning session, and we're focusing more on the competition and research skills. I hope you'll be asking questions and interacting more. Please make use of the chat box. And if you might have any questions regarding today's session, feel free to raise your hand as well and to ask during the question and answer session. Without wasting time, I'll hand over to Casper for the house rules. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Camilla. Welcome again, everybody. We only have a few small house rules for today. We'd like to ask everybody to please mute your cameras to save their 10 bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones, keep all the background noise to a minimum. If anybody has a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand. And then I think that we're ready on our side of the host. Over to you.
Awesome, good. Yeah, there was an extended tea break between sessions, but it was all good. So we've all had our tea and we're back for the final session. So this is really where you pull it all together. And it, depending on your students or your learners, kind of how deep they want to go into their research, this can sometimes be the most difficult part of pulling it all together and knowing how to present it to the judges in a coherent way. And so hopefully some of the ideas that you get from this session will help you with that. And I'm just also reminded, if you don't have a team competing, you're welcome to volunteer as a judge. And that'll give you a better idea of how other teams are also preparing their research. And you'll notice that newer teams, their skills, they're getting there. More experienced teams, they usually are, they quite enjoy doing their research presentation because they know what they're doing. But it's all good. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, the normal. Here we go. I can just share it. There we go. And then I'm going to ask Casper just to confirm that he can see my screen. Yes? Can somebody confirm?
Confirmed.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, there's a voice. All right. So we are really now on the fourth part where you kind of fine tune it and then you've got to present it. Well, you're not your learners. And what we don't want is that the learners get such stage fright that they can't present effectively. But with practice and knowing your learners, you will get them to present well. You also know your learners. What we've often done is the learners that are not quite keen to talk in public, they get to say the first parts so that they can get their talking out of the way and they don't get to be scared or nervous in front of the judges. But it is really important that everybody gets a turn in the presentation to present something. Okay. Against our navigation issues, Tumelo and Antoni are happy to answer your questions. We really want to equip our robotics coaches so that we have competent and confident coaches, and we have competent and confident team members as well. All right. So the theme, just to recap, kind of the theme is super powered, and I've actually turned this whole presentation upside down. So this is kind of just to get it started. The robots are going to do the missions, and the robot must score the points, but the team must do the research on this theme. So really important that at all times you pull your research back to this theme. And this year we've got 4 energy journeys. So read your team meeting guide well and make sure that your research is on theme. Okay, and most of the missions can be used as think triggers, which we're going to discuss after this. Okay, so here we've kind of got going, and in your team meeting guide and in the engineering notebook that your learners have, there's 12 sessions. So it's usually the first 4 are really the initial, discussing each of the energy journeys as set out in the document. And then sessions 5 to 8, we're kind of looking for our research problem from the discussions that we've had in sessions 1 to 4. And now the last 4 sessions, we're kind of putting it all together. And we want to present, you want to present everything, all right? And learners really want, especially if they are really passionate about their topic, what we need to do is we need to rehearse it well to make sure that everything that needs to be said is said. And so the kind of the starting point, and let me just go back here, kind of one of the starting points is your evaluation rubrics that they will be used to judge. Okay, and then if you just go through that, so this is really the whole research, the presentation. I'm doing it all backwards, so you can kind of pick up the things. All right. So for the presentation, there are really 2 parts, and I do believe that a poster, and it's all it is it's a PowerPoint presentation of 16 slides. And you get the team to build this up as they're sitting in class, as they're working. And then just before the competition, you can then just print it. And so I'm going to show you now a format just now of the format, how you can put this poster together. But basically, it's 16 slides, 4 by 4, 4 across and 4 down. So 1 or 2 slides are introducing the team and say the problem and the energy journey. Lots of pictures, lots of photographs. You want the judges to remember your team. And so make it stand out. Okay. Then slides 3 and 4, discuss existing solutions to your problem. Team 5 and 6 is usually your team solution, lots of photographs. And 7 must be exactly, you must highlight where the innovation is of your team. Okay, where is the innovation part an existing solution that you've used, or is it a brand new solution? Okay. Then at least 1 slide, say slide 8, is the sources of information. And these must be the people. Name the experts. Who did you go and talk to? Take their photograph with the team and stick it up on your poster. And then, 9, 10. I don't know what happened to 10, 9. Okay, maybe you've got 2. Oh, I did some counting there. Okay, so 10 will then be your references, and you name the sources. You can't just say, well, we Googled and we went on the internet and that's our, no. You've got to know, tell me exactly what you used, okay? 11 is the costing of the solution. You can't say, well, it's going to cost 4 million rand. Nah, then it's not realistic. Where did the money come from? Where did that number come from? And then it is like, okay, is there an easier way of doing it? How effective and efficient is it? And then slide number 12 should be your sharing of your solution. Give us a picture. Did you go and talk to the local Lions Club, or did you talk to the company that was helping you? And then usually it's good to have like a Google form, but you can analyze some data with the evaluation of your solution. So that'll give you some nice graphs to show. And then maybe just for a slide 16 is your future plans. And now I'm thinking, what on earth is slide 9? There was some slide that I went missing. So maybe you can have another slide of references. Yeah, or just of the team. I'll show you the picture. All right. So you make a poster. Number 1, it focuses your team's research. So you know exactly what they're doing. And this will go through a couple of iterations before you actually print it. Okay. But the other one is it gives the team members triggers. So if somebody asks them a question, they can refer back to the poster. Okay. And it's their team identity as well. Okay. So there's the poster. The next part of your presentation is actually the presentation. And if we have some time, I'll go through some of these videos. But really, some teams go really dramatic, and they have a whole play that they put up in 5 minutes. But you still have to mention these topics. So there must be, what is the problem? What is the solution? It mustn't just be a play, a drama piece, and then you don't know what it is. So there's some teams that have put together videos. It certainly beats having a row of children in front of you with their hands crossed and nobody wants to say anything. Okay. Then you kind of think, well, did they actually do any research? Okay, so let's go through this afterwards. I'm not sure whether it's going to play somewhere in the presentation, but do you think it'll play? Let's have a look. Oh, skip verification. Let's have a look. Ah. So you'll see this team just did a very dramatic thing. And it's maybe good to make a little video as well.
Good morning and welcome to our project presentation.
We are the Westington Wasps. My name is Professor Sour.
And I'm Professor Sweet.
And we're the vegetables.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action.
I'm Matt.
I'm Dada.
And we'd like to welcome you to Veg's Got Talent. Thank you, and welcome to tonight's show.
Okay, you get the idea. I think that was quite cute. Okay. All right. So I'll show you some of the other ones as well. But so that gives you an idea of how dramatic the teams can be in their presentations. All right. So is there somebody's mic unmuted? No. Okay. All right. So what it's leading to is you've got the one hand, you've got the poster, on the other hand you've got this presentation, this dramatic presentation, and there are quite a few examples of this. The judges are going to evaluate your team that's standing in front of them in terms of, did the team clearly have a defined problem? Okay, and then they can so you get a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 for everything here. Okay, so you obviously partially defined, the clearly definition, or some research but quality unclear. Your judges only have these 5 minutes with your team, and you really have to make sure that everything, all the hard work that your team has done, must be demonstrated in these sessions. Okay, so number 1, the team clearly defined the problem. In terms of design, the team generated innovative ideas independently before selecting and planning which one to develop. So there must be some discussion of they had an idea and what they were going to do, and then they went to look for solutions, and then so there must be some evidence of that. Then the team developed an original idea or built on an existing idea with a prototype or a model or a drawing. You can't just send a team into a judging session and say, well, we think it must look like this. Look like what? Right? Get the drawing, let the kids draw what they're thinking. And so it's clearly defined with labels that you know exactly what it is. All right. Then iterate. The team shared their idea, okay, and collected feedback and included improvements in their solution. All right. You don't have to only share with one person. You can go and share with the Lions Club. You can go share with the business. You can go and share at some dads or your experts at their business that they were talking with. All right. And then communicate. The team shared a creative and effective presentation and their solution. So that is where they get evaluated and how they are presenting to the judges. So a presentation that is really not engaging will probably be a whole lot of kids standing in front of you with a presentation that they've learned wrote, with no props. You're allowed to have cue cards, that's fine, but it must be engaging, and the team or the judges must know what the team's research was about. What was it about? And then they think, oh yes, that was the team that did the vegetables, or oh yes, that was the team that had the house model. And so then I know we're only having 12 and 15 teams at a competition at the moment, but when you get to 60 and 70 teams, you really need to make sure that the judges remember you. Okay, so these are the criteria, and maybe get other teachers in your school to evaluate your team. Maybe in the sessions 9, 10, 11, 12, every afternoon, get another teacher, an independent teacher, to come and evaluate your team. All right. So, and now this is again, why? Why? Because we need our learners to grapple with real world issues. And superpowered is definitely a real world issue. We do not need to look very far. But learners also need to talk to experts. They must realize that it's not pie in the sky. All right. You can't just make things up. This is not fiction. This is not just a story. They need to actually engage, and they need to read about the real world issues, and they need to ask the questions. They need to ask the questions, not you as the coach. All right. And what I've also said quite a few times now is that they need to become aware that there are future careers. Okay. So maybe they will pick a career in energy, and then these superpowered topics will come back to them. All right. Yeah, I think when you talk about, you remember we had the journeys. I'll get back to the journeys just now. But when you discuss the journeys, something is going to click in somebody, in one of the learners, and they will identify which of the energy journeys they want to be part of. As a team, they can decide, okay, this is where we're going to go. But it's not to say it's the only research. So let them rather grapple with going forward. Okay, so how are you as the coach going to do it? You as the coach just need to link the thinking. That's all you need to do. You just need to link the thinking of your learners and expose them to as much as possible. There are 19 pages of resources in the multimedia document. There is more than enough. There are more than enough links there. If you can't find experts, ask around. Ask within your staff. Ask the learners to go and ask their parents, but find an expert. Find at least 2 experts, actually. And then you ask the questions. And obviously, it must be superpowered related, must be energy related. If anybody can get a meeting with Mr. Eskom himself, that'll be awesome. Okay. Your research is not your laptop, your Google, and your teacher. That is not research. Okay. Whether you collect flyers about solar panels, whether you do an analysis of how many companies in your area are selling solar panels, and then going to interview them and finding out which is the better options, and then maybe between them decide this is the better option and why you're going to put it at your school or your home, but you need to be able to collect the data. This is not pie in the sky. We have teams that already have patents on their research, and just to keep in mind that the top projects do go to the Global Innovation Project. All right. Again, just a reminder, yes, there are different team roles. Okay, so you have builders and you have programmers and researchers and logic and strategy and things. But every team member needs to contribute to the research, just like every team member does need to build something and every team member does need to program. It's for too long. You can't just send one learner off and say, okay, you go and do the research and then we'll catch up with you in 6 weeks' time. No. We've all got to do this together. All take ownership of it together. Okay. All right. So I had lots of fun with my green Koki. So we're on the innovation project. Okay. And all the steps are important. Once you've identified it, you must be able to design something. You must be able to create something. And you must be able to share something. All right. And this whole thing is, it must be very clear. Your learners must know exactly what the problem is and exactly what the solution is. Okay. And obviously linked to then superpowered. All right, so this is where we are now. So again, we've got a team journey, and we've now we did the first 4 sessions, we did the energy journeys. Then the next 4 sessions, we discussed everything and pulled everything together. Now the last 4 is about how do we put it all together to present as a project presentation, okay? And you need to practice it, all right? You can't put the presentation together on the morning of the competition. You do need to practice this, all right? And it needs to be not rote learned, but with enthusiasm and conviction. It's got to be presented to the judges. Okay. Again, as I was saying, there's 12 sessions. So 4 sessions are your initial research. The 4 sessions are you're defining your solution. You can start sharing with your experts. And then the last 4 sessions is then when you start evaluating and practicing your presentation. And you're putting it all together and you're making your poster. Your poster can stay on your computer at the PowerPoint presentation right up until the end, until you've added all your pictures as well. Okay, so and you've got to keep in the back of your mind, you've got to keep bringing your challenge is to improve the energy journey in your community. We are not solving the world's problems, okay? We are more focused on getting the research skills to address problems. And you'll see, you've just got to keep the focus. All right. So when I said about innovation project, go look in your team meeting guide. There's a whole thing about the entrepreneurship through the Global Innovation Award. It's real and it's a phenomenal opportunity, really phenomenal opportunity. We have good problems because we have some really amazing projects every year. All right. So in case you've missed what the energy journey is, so your white energy is your renewable energy. So it comes from the wind. It is stored in cells, and it is used to watch television. So you need to be able to define which energy journey you are. If you're going for the blue energy journey, it comes from the water turbines. It is stored and it is used. And so every journey you need to have what is the source, where is it stored, and how are you going to use it? And you've decided which energy journey you're going to do. All right. So that's again, we've done the white energy. I've kept it, but keep when you're discussing this, keep this in focus. Okay. Keep the rubrics in focus. It mustn't be a huge surprise to the team members. Like, oh my goodness, where does this come from? No. You've heard about it. This is exactly what you've heard about, and this is what we've discussed in class. All right. So by session 11, we're starting to pull the presentation together. And I think that is where this PowerPoint presentation of 12 slides, 16 slides, actually works to your advantage, because you are actually doing presentation planning as you're going along, and you're thinking, what am I going to put in the presentation? So the 16 slides kind of gives you a very good first overview of it. Okay. And then, of course, you've got to communicate your solution. So how are you going to communicate it? Are you just going to stand blah, 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 and give your sessions, or are you going to do a little bit of drama, or are you going to get all dressed up? Are you going to be a TV reporter? Are you going to be, anything? You can be an energy, whatever. All right. It's very important also to just prepare for your tournament or your competition, but to keep it, to understand where you are. This is not just an endless, okay, here we do, and this is what we're going to do. All right. It's not highlighted enough. It's not stressed enough. But at the bottom there, it says, what do we do when we finished? Okay. I really, really want you to, after a competition, no matter what, okay, no matter what, this here, hold a team celebration. It should be bold. It should be, no, hang on a minute. It should be in bold letters. No matter what, you have to celebrate a team's participation at a competition. We always, and we've had, my team has had many competitions where we've won absolutely nothing. It's not great, but you need to be able to celebrate that we participated. Okay, really, really, really important. Whether you get a parent to bring a cake for the end of the celebration to say what a season it was, whether you get a parent to sponsor pizzas, whether you go to the local ice cream shop and get an ice cream or something, but you do need to celebrate. Okay, it's a reality. Less than half the teams get awards. Everybody gets a medal, but only less than half the team get awards at a regional competition. And at celebration events, they get certificates. All right. But no matter what, for learners to participate in a robotics competition must not be underestimated. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there, to walk this whole journey. If this is the final checkpoint, you've got to start somewhere with these learners, and they've stuck with you as the coach up until the end, and they have put their best foot forward. They have worked very hard, and so you as a coach need to acknowledge that. All right, please celebrate well. Please do celebrate, and lots of photographs, lots of celebrations. Whether you win or not, as I said, a trophy, you have to celebrate. You have to acknowledge that we have accomplished something, right? And acknowledge and congratulate the teams that do win, and make friends. Oh, right in the beginning, you need to make friends with teams, by the way. You really do need to make friends with teams. I don't know about taking the robot apart, because sometimes it's good to reflect and to make missions. And if you're doing the regional competition, don't do anything until you've heard about the nationals. That could be quite dangerous. All right, so that's your final thing. Explain to your team what this judging thing is about. Okay, the format has changed slightly, and then of course in COVID it went totally pear-shaped. But really, you're coming in and you're facing a total of 10 adults that you've never seen before. The kids are. You as a coach are allowed to go in the venue, but you are not allowed to say a single thing. You're not allowed to communicate at all with your team. You kind of just have to sit at the back and say nothing if you really want to. Most judges prefer that the coaches are not in the session, but if you really want to go in, you're more than welcome. Okay, so this is kind of your team will get welcomed. There's usually a head room judge, and then there are 3 project judges. So you only get 5 minutes to present your project, and they'll say, thank you very much, that's enough. Then they'll ask the questions. Then you need to explain your robot design. and you can have to ask questions. And then there's the core value. And because the whole team is in the one venue the whole time, the core value judges are kind of watching them and watching the team, how they interact with each other. All right. And so the core values will just ask a couple of questions, and then we'll put it together, and then the team leaves, and then the judges still have about 10 minutes to deliberate. Okay. What also happens is that if there are, say, 12 teams, 6 teams will first go to the robot rounds, and 6 teams will then go to the judging sessions. And then usually slightly before lunchtime, or maybe just after lunchtime, the teams will then swap. So the 6 that were at robot rounds will then go into the judging sessions, and the 6 that were in the judging sessions will then go to the robot rounds. Okay, so that is kind of what your day is. If you have a team that is very unsure, you can always go into the judging venue just to go before the event starts, and you can go and walk around the venue. Also, what your team does bring to the competition is a pit area. So you get a table with well, you've got to bring your own tablecloth, and then it's a good place to put up your poster and to say who you are and what you've done and from which school you are. And so that becomes your pit area as well. And so the idea is then to get other teams to come and visit your pit area, and you go and visit other pit areas. So as a mutual exchange, it's always a good idea to have either some teams print little buttons with their team name on, or they share pencils with their names on it, or pens with their names on it, or they have selfies with them, and so they put up their posters with all their photographs. But whatever you do, there must be this interaction between other teams. And so that is kind of the third aspect, where's the core values, is where you talk to other teams and you get to know them. The cool thing is the teams get to know each other very well, and then they start doing their sing-songs and their war cries together, which is really great. Okay. In terms of just to get back to the project quickly, here there are some links. So if you Google Superpowered Project, you will get some links to the Superpowered Project. Again, you've got the resources. Everything that I've spoken about is detailed in your team meeting guide. Your learners have got exactly the same 12 sessions detailed in their notebook. The game rulebook, we're going to share some of those. That gives you the names of the missions, and that could definitely be a trigger for the team to start thinking. And then you've got the multimedia resource guide. That is chock-a-block with resources. Some of them might be a bit American, but I'm sure we can find equivalent South African guide options there. Okay, but there's always 5 steps, and so hopefully you understand at the bottom we've just now discovered. We've discussed the sharing, the evaluating the data, and how to present in 5 minutes with a poster, a model, a presentation. 5 minutes, clear, clear, clear. No fumbling, just a very clear message. All right, and back to my why bother. My why bother is very important for me. We need to equip our learners to thrive beyond the 4th Industrial Revolution. Okay, and for that they need to develop research skills. They need to know how to do real research without being drawn in with fake news. Okay, they must be able to think something through, to ask the right questions, to concern and discern what they're hearing and what is being told to them. All right, and this is part of the developing of the 21st century skills. Every year we get a real world problem. It needs deliberation, it needs understanding, it needs attention, it needs a solution. And I'm really appealing to you to keep the theme focus. That we have, you'll get your team to say, okay, so this is our problem on theme. Let me go and hear what the other team's on theme solution is. Okay. Let the team present to the experts. They need to be competent and confident. So let them talk, let them present, let them evaluate, let them deliberate with their experts and ask questions. All right. So we have understood the project. We have started the initial. We have focused on the journey and the problem and the solutions. And today we discussed your solution. So that was the presentation part of it. There's number 2, 3. You need to be able to present your solution, and then That was when it pulls all together. All right. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? I'm really excited about this season. Yes, Elmarie.
Maybe just a comment to people. In the last season, we had teams that did different things. There was the crispy Alkanites or something like that, but they really went way out, and the guys actually surprised the coach as well with their presentation. They ended up with pulling things apart and having this muscular man in the end on the smallest guy in the team. And because they did something so different, all the judges remember them throughout the season because they did go through to the nationals. And everyone always referred to, remember the Krispy Kremes? So firstly, have a funny name or a weird name that make you stand out. Your team identity stands out with that name, and it makes you remembered by the judges. The moment the judges can remember you, it gives you that advantage going forward. Also, Patricia mentioned, if you are unsure about judging, go into the judging rooms. The judging rooms are open when the kickoffs and things happen in the morning. In that time, go to the judging rooms and ask, what's happening? How do we do? What do we do? Ask your questions so that by the time the kids arrive there, they feel confident in standing in front of those judges. Also, the judges are there to help the kids and ask questions where required. They're not there to judge them in the sense of being a negative judge. They're there to positively judge the kids. So it's an uplifting experience for them, not a breaking down experience like an exam or something like that. So they shouldn't be scared, please.
Awesome. Well said. Yeah, Elmarie comes with many years of experience. Well done. Thank you, Elmarie. Awesome. Okay, I'm just looking here. Angie's got a hand up. Hi, Angie.
Hi, how's it? I just have a silly little question though. You were talking about the celebration and you must celebrate and how important it is. But when do you do that celebration? When does the season end that you do that?
Okay, so that depends on if you're competing in a regional. Hey, that's us. Didn't need an extra reason to have a celebration. We celebrated from everything. So every time we competed in a competition, we would celebrate.
Oh, okay. All right. Now that makes sense. Cool.
And sometimes the team got it right. Then they would invite another team to come and visit them. Okay, and then that was a celebration too. So what they would ask, Hey, that's us was here in Pretoria, and then they would invite, say, Garsfontein High School, and they would say, we're going to present our research to each other, but we'll have ice cream at the same time. So they got an excuse to present their presentations to each other, and then they got an excuse to have ice cream.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we often ran out of ice cream. Often, yeah. They also had the excuse that ice cream helped them think. So I don't know how true that was, but anyway, they did well. Yeah, they did well. Yeah.
Ice cream and tomato sauce.
Yes, ice cream, tomato sauce, and Oreos. I'm just give me half a minute. I want to show you something. So this is the 16 slide. I don't know if you can see it. It's like, oh, it's mega. Okay, it's like this. All right. And so, there we go. So those are the 16 PowerPoint slides that the team then worked on during the season. And then just before the competition, we would then put them onto a board, and they would take that with them. All right. And give me half a minute. I'll show you something else. Just half a minute.
Whilst Patricia gets whatever she's getting, it's easier for the kids to present with a paper-based thing in front of them, so the boards, than having a PowerPoint presentation. I found in the past, if there's a PowerPoint presentation, the kids get all flustered with who to press the button and who moves the button too fast. So if it's a printed document, it's easier to present on.
Absolutely, yes. And you can put the words on. Okay, so so what I wanted to show you, yeah, this is it. This is it. And it's a huge big ball, but this was Hey That's Us's mascot. It went overseas a couple of times, but she's a bit heavy. Well, it is a bit heavy to go into anybody's luggage. So we've actually got a beach ball version of it as well. So we take the cover off and put it onto a beach ball. And so the times we competed overseas, we would then take the beach ball and the cover, and it would go along. And so I think in the Tenerife video, you don't need to look where the team is. You just see where they're busy throwing it around. So it used to be thrown between teams, and so it went along. And that was Hey That's Us's mascot. If truth be told, and I'm trying to think, Food Factor was 2011. I think we did food. So actually, it is actually was a giant tomato. So so the team, what that was called, I can't remember what that team's name was called. Something like DJ SQ squared or something like that. Anyway, they wanted a tomato. So if you open it underneath, there's the tomato inside, and so we just recycled, because recycle was also a topic of. Anyway, so this is the story of it, and so it gives the team an identity, and it gives the teams kind of that's their mascot, that's they carried around. Poor it has been carried out all around, yeah, but it was known, and it gave a lot of fun. It was kind of known. All right, so it doesn't have to be as huge as it, but it's definitely something to think about. I mean, if you have an all-girls team and they draw like funny things on their faces, or if you have a boys team that wants to gel their hair, and as Almarie was saying, crispy, what is it now? Actually, Antonites, whatever that means.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was a good team name, but my goodness, it just didn't go in. So everybody knew them as the Krispy Kremes. I mean, if they'd had donuts, I think they could have been sponsored. But so your team name can change for every season as well. So Hey That's Us just kept the same name. They were the same name for the 7 years that they competed. They changed members. The older team members then would become judges and referees, and then we'd add younger members onto the team as well. But the core of the team stayed the same. And of course, the older learners then stayed on as mentors as well. So really a good model, especially because it's a play it forward. So once you've had your time as a team member, it's time to give back. And so you become part of the volunteer base. Yeah. All right. Very important to celebrate, very important no matter what, and to have good memories, because the teams can also sit down around a table and say, oh, the trash topic was really difficult, and the water topic, that was fun, and so whatever it is, you will also find that your teams will be able to talk about it. And so they have their permanent oral topics. So no matter what, they can get up and do a discussion or a presentation on Superpowered. And so what comes out immediately is that any learner in your team can get up and say, well, there's actually 4 energy journeys, and every energy journey's got a source, a storage, and a usage. And let me tell you about. And so these kids build up this confidence and competence in research skills, and you just never know these seeds that you plant as a coach. You just never know where it's going to go. But it takes a lot of work. I'm not going to hide that away. It's a lot of work, all right? But you so well worth it. So well worth it, because it is a team that is putting together, that's researching a topic on theme, and who knows what they're going to find, right? Are there any other questions? I'm not seeing any other questions now. All right. So I'm just going to ask Casper, have you still got that Word document there with you? So yesterday, Casper shared a list of all the missions that are on the superpowered mission mat. Okay, and just to kind of wrap everything up and say, just look at the names of the missions, right? And by your team discussing it, because they've already, remember, we were trying to build vocabulary. Okay, so by just looking through the list of these are the missions, what jumps out? So you'll also find you can play a game with the kids at the table. Say, put the whole mission table out and just say, okay, so team, what is your favorite mission? You don't have to do it. What do you think is the favorite mission? What do you think is the favorite mission model? Which of these mission models look easier? And then you get them to use the vocabulary. Hydroelectricity, white energy, that little really cool little truck that has the fuel in it. Is that going to work? And the little dinosaur is really cute, by the way. Casper, are you okay? I think maybe we've lost Casper. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions of excitement of how we're going to do this? We will.
Carmen.
Hi, Carmen. Yes.
I don't know if I missed something, but I have a couple of dots I want to connect.
I'm listening.
To the four missions, so the renewable energy, the water energy, etc. You were saying that
is the energy journeys.
Yes.
Yes.
How do I connect? Do I have to connect the energy journey to the research? Is that a component of the research?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So every team coming in, one of the very first questions any judge can say is, where is your research focused on? Which energy journey is it?
Okay.
So your team must come in and say, we're doing white energy journey, and we know there's the source, the storage, and the usage of it, and we are going to focus on the storage of it because that is a problem.
Okay.
All right. And you must be able to say, we know where it comes from. It comes from the wind or the water or wherever it's, no, not the white energies, the wind and the solar. Where is it going to? We want more energy to put on the lights in our school.
Okay.
But the storage is the problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes it's very sad when some teams have come to judging and like in food, the one we had on the food factor, they're going to plant a garden. Yeah, but why? No, because we felt like it. Yes, but how does that link to the topic? No, it's food. Yes, but what is the problem? You see, and then you're actually putting your learners into a place where they don't have all the answers, and you as a coach really need to prepare them for that. That is why there's like a template of questions that you could possibly ask your teams to kind of prepare them. And this is where the discernment comes in, where they say, this is why we're doing it. So what is the problem that they're addressing? And it's just one sentence in. Yes, Almarie.
Sorry, I'm talking a lot.
It's all good.
With linking of the project to the energy types, please make sure your kids have one solution, not multiple solutions.
Yes, absolutely.
One year we had, for example, where you had to look at the elderly, and the one team came in with, we're going to an old age home, and we did exercises with them, and we did food, and we did eating. And they had awesome solutions, but I had so many solutions, there wasn't a focus on one of them. And the idea was, come with a solution, just one solution. So please just make sure that your kids, even though they have a broad solution, they can summarize it as a single solution.
Absolutely, Almarie, and it's again about focus, getting the kids to focus on what they're actually doing. Absolutely. Yep. Cool. And I must just say, maybe for you as new coaches, if we have some new coaches here, research skills, you're going to see in second season, third season, you will see your teams growing. You will see those research skills. You will just see how they're able to look at a topic and say, we can narrow it down. This is our problem. These are the existing solutions. This is our solution. And we're going to evaluate it. We're going to talk to experts, and this is what we're going to do. Yeah, it's a phenomenal privilege. Yep. Absolutely. And that's why I stick with my poster. You've got to have the problem, one sentence. Existing solutions, show me some pictures. But what is our solution? Give us one single slide, PowerPoint slide, and say, this is our solution. All right. All right. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? We are going to do in October. We will be doing some building, some attachments and things, and we'd love to hear you participating as well, kind of bragging with your attachments that you've got for the various missions. We'll go and kind of look around the engineering and the programming of these robot missions. But definitely for research, I hope this has given you food for thought, some thinking of how we're going to tackle superpowered research. Yes, and maybe one of your teams come up with a absolutely mind-blowing idea, and so we look forward to that. We've had in the past, we've had a good problem where we have too many projects as awesome projects, and that is a good problem to have. All right. Okay, if there are no further questions, no further comments, all right, then I'm going to ask Tumelo to finish off or to close the session. This has been a good discussion, and I'm grateful. Let's have a look. Is Tumelo still here? Oh, Tumelo is still here. Tumelo, yours. Thank you. Let's close the session.
What a way to close today's session. I'd like to thank our online participants such as Marie. I worked with her when I was doing our regionals and nationals. She's a very, very, very knowledgeable person, and really appreciate such individuals. Dr. Khoos, thank you so much for this lovely session. Please take note, we can continue with this conversation online. If you want to continue with the conversation, please email us on i-set@unisa.ac.za. You'll just find it here on the chat box. And for any other queries, you can still send us an email as well. To those that are watching the presentation, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the recording. To our live participants, once again, thank you also for taking time to be here and being interactive. It's a very happy Thursday from me. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Stay well. Enjoy your evening.